Hello and happy Cinco de Mayo. Welcome to Chef AJ's channel and to Chef Del's Kitchen. I'm your host for the next hour or so, Chef Del Sroufe. Excited to bring to you a menu that I play around with every year when I'm teaching courses or doing events for Cinco de Mayo. It's one of my favorite holidays only because I love the food of Mexico and of the Latin diaspora. I mean, I love it all. So this menu is influenced by several things. We're making dishes that I've had in restaurants that were Latin inspired, Latin fusion, if you will. And then we're making a dessert inspired by Chef AJ's black bean brownies. We're going to do a delicious Mexican brownie parfait. So stay tuned for that. We want to get started with our brownies because they have to go to the oven. Let me turn my oven on. And I want to show you what I bought. I have not bought too many of these. I bought my first, you can see it here too, my first silicone cake pan. I don't do as much baking as I used to. I used to own a bakery. The days before there was silicone. So this is somewhat new to me. But these are great because my goal is to get rid of the parchment paper that I used to line pans with for baking. I know Chef AJ uses these and has spoken well about them. So we're going to do our brownies in here and see how that works out for the first time. But we're going to start off in the blender here. This menu is blender heavy. So what do you do, right? But that's all right. So we're going to start, as we always do with our black bean brownies, with black bean. 1.5 cups. And that goes into, excuse the noise, 1 cup of maple syrup or date syrup, your choice. I know Chef AJ likes the date lady and uses her syrup frequently. I tried to order some before the show today, but it didn't get here in time, so we went with date syrup. And then we've got plant milk. Now I did make, this is a homemade cashew milk. I was out of oats or needed the oats for the rest of the recipes, so I usually like oat milk. It's the least expensive. It tastes just fine. It's easy to make. Doesn't require any soaking or anything like that. But this is cashew milk, and to be honest, I did not. Well, you can see the solids up in there, but I'm going to add those right in. To be honest, I did not, when I make this, soak the cashews. I had raw cashews on hand, and I just went ahead and threw them right in there. And with a high-powered blender like the Vitamix, you're fine. You don't have to have a high-powered blender, but it really does help a little bit, I think. I've not tried cashew milk in a regular blender yet, so if that changes, I'll let you know. So we've got our beans, our syrup, and our plant milk in the blender, and we're just going to process that. And you want that to get relatively smooth. If you have not had black bean brownies or Chef AJ's black bean brownies, you're not going to taste black beans when you eat these. The other ingredients, the cacao powder and the flavoring is going to make up for all that for you. Now I've been doing this with pancakes. I've been making these 3-ingredient pancakes where you take the whole oats, you take all the ingredients and throw them into the blender. So we're going to do that with our brownies today. So that's just 3/4 cups of rolled oats, and then we have a 1/2 cup of unsweetened cacao powder, and our baking soda, baking powder, flaxseed, sea salt if you're using any. I'm not for this recipe. Even yours truly is trying to cut back into salt. And that's it. We're going to process that again until smooth. Easy recipe, by the way. Once you've gathered all your ingredients, it really does. All right, so we're going to have, hopefully, this delicious batter. And then we've got the vanilla. Let's add that to there. That should be fine. All right, so that is it. That's our batter ready to go into our cake pan. So off we go. It's looking thick and creamy. I suppose I should taste because that's I always taste. Just you want to know if you've missed anything. You just can't go wrong with that, my friends. All right, so that's that. And I'm going to pour that into, you can just taste that little bit of cayenne pepper in there, a little bit of the cinnamon. So by the way, these are a Mexican-inspired brownie. Chef AJ does not usually include them when she makes them. I don't know if she's made them Mexican style or not, but hey, it's always a day for something new. And the batter looks just the right consistency. It looks like a brownie batter or a cake batter, so I think we're in good shape. The flax seed is kind of an agripacer, partially a binder to help hold that together. So I suppose you could use chia seeds if you want to. Your choice. But I always have flax seeds because I eat them every day on my oatmeal, etc. It's tasty. This menu, by the way, is blender heavy. So you want to shake that around so the batter just goes evenly into the pan there. And that's perfect. And we're going to top it with some chopped walnuts. You can do the nut of your choice. It looks pretty already, doesn't it? Chopped walnut. Excuse the noise. Some chocolate chips if you want. These are, I think Lily is the brand. They're stevia sweetener. They do have erythritol in it, which I didn't pay attention to when I made them or bought them. And then you can decide for yourself if that's an issue for you. And I think it was ready to go into the oven, but I think that I want to put the silk pan into a sturdier pan. Comes into a sturdier pan like this. It's just a baking dish, right? So that they're easier to manage. And I don't think my oven's quite up to temperature yet. So don't let me forget to put those in. And those are going to bake for 35 to 40 minutes. The usual test for brownies is when the toothpick is centered, or a little thin knife is centered in the center and comes out clean. You know they're done. And that's the deal. All right. Now, corn cakes. These are inspired by a recipe from one of my favorite Latin fusion restaurants here in Columbus, Ohio, where I live. It's long gone. It's been closed for several years now, but it was one of the best restaurants in Columbus, one of the best Latin-inspired restaurants in Columbus. I was quite a regular there. They had really good margaritas, but those were different times. But these corn cakes were on their appetizer list, and it was a little corn cake, and they're about this big, and they were served with a Chipotle cream sauce and then these grilled shrimp. Back then, I ate shrimp off and on, but now I make them vegan and plant-based. So this recipe is inspired by that dish, and I hope you like it as much as I do. So we're going to start with the corn cakes, and we'll move on from there. And then we're going to do the same thing we did with our brownies. We're going to add oats to our blender. I need to get some more blender cups. Like I said, this is a blender heavy menu. Maybe what I should do, hang on everybody, make room for me to use our food processor at some point, get my blender cleaned out. We're in the commissariat, and you ever want to be an assistant for my shows, I'll feed you free food afterwards, or give you food to take home, or whatever you want to do. So I'm going to rinse that out really quickly. We're going to add oats, and then our baking powder, our dried paprika, sea salt, etc. And then our plant milk. I mean, I put this in the wrong container, so I got to be careful. Our plant milk. Look at that, by the way, there it is again. The thick cream part of the cashew milk. Get that in there. That annoying and stuff. All right, so there's and applesauce. This is homemade applesauce, you guys. I've quit buying store-bought applesauce. You just don't need it. I have apples on hand because I'm trying to eat more fresh fruit in my diet. When I want a snack, I want something sweet. Instead of reaching for the sugar, I'm reaching for the fruit. And I tell you something, once you get sugar out of your diet on a regular basis, I rarely ever have it. You're not craving in the same way that you used to, right? You can see I'm cleaning my blender while I talk to you. So the fresh fruit does an amazing job for me. And I love fresh berries, and I love apples, and I buy those little halo oranges that are so popular around at least around Columbus. I don't know. And so those of you in the orange growing regions, just walk out to the tree in the backyard and make magic happen that way. So anyway, all I did for this was I actually grated these first instead of chopping them, and then ran them through the blender really quickly. And that's applesauce. You don't have to cook it or anything. It's ready to go. It's serving the same purpose as a cooked applesauce. And you know, the only reason they really cook applesauce is so that they can bottle it and keep it shelf steady. But think of all of the packaging that we're saving by making it ourselves, and only when we need it. I don't have to buy the little baby-sized applesauce anymore. I just buy the apples. And we're just going to puree that. And that is that. Okay. So then we are going to wipe off my counter. I'm trying to become one of those clean as you go chefs. Wipe off the counter and make it pretty for you. All right. We take that and then add it to our bowl. And it's got a thin, pancakey consistency, as you can see here. Okay. And rinse up our blender again. I don't think I'll use that blender again. We've got the other one ready to go. And then we add our remaining ingredients. So our cornmeal. And then we've got corn. 3 cups of corn kernels. We've got red pepper, diced red pepper. You can use green pepper if that's what you have. And then diced jalapeno pepper. And that is our corn cake. Just mix that together pretty quickly. It should thicken up some, which is perfect. And if you have a good nonstick skillet, if you have a good one, you can cook these on top of that. I'm finding I used to, I'm always going for the highest heat. And I found through the advice of a friend of mine, a chef, that nonsticks can work better at the lower heat. So who knew, right? So, let me get my brownies into the oven really quickly. I'm going to put those on the middle shelf. And then if you have a good ice cream scoop like this one, my friend here, this is probably a 4-ounce, which is fine. You can make these any size you want. And if you do them in the stovetop, you can also test them to see how they turn out. We're going to risk it and just bake them off, and assuming that we've got it good to go, because I've made the pancakes many times. And I'm going to have to do 2 batches of these, aren't I? I want to give them plenty of room to spread, because like I said, this batter, they could spread some, right? So we'll start there and see how that does, and we'll come back and finish them later. I forgot to taste my batter. Make sure I didn't miss anything. They're pretty good. All right, into the oven they go. I have instructions on the original recipe for pan frying. What I'll do is I'll put the recipe for baking them in there as well. But that's our corn cakes, and those are the 2 most challenging things we're making today. I mean, I don't even know if challenging is just not the right word, is it? The most tedious of things, if you will. But up next, we're going to make the cream sauce for the corn cakes, and it's just ridiculous how easy this sauce can be. Now, I did make my own Chipotle puree, and I'm including the recipe for you there. I used to buy Chipotle's and adobo sauce, which you can find in almost any grocery store in the Latin aisle with Latin foods. But I don't know how I missed it, but I paid attention recently, and all the canned versions have a little bit of oil in them. And so I wanted to make a version for you guys that was oil-free, and I found several recipes online and then adapted them for my own use, including using silken tofu instead of the heavy cream or cream that others have used. But there's the Chipotle puree. And it's a little time-consuming. You're going to take toasted with Chipotle peppers, like these, and you're going to put them in a skillet and toast them, and just until they start to turn colors on each side, and then you're going to put them in hot water and soak them, and then you're going to stem them, seed them, and puree them with some other ingredients that are included in the recipe. When you buy these, the best ones, let me show you here. You open this packet and you'll smell the smoke in it. You want them to be, let's see, you want them to have some give to them, right? You want them to be able to, you don't want them to be extra firm. These are good quality. This brand, I don't know where you'll find them elsewhere, but I bought those online. blah, blah, blah. So that's my chipotle cream or chipotle puree. And then to make the sauce, all we're going to do is add everything to a blender. Our 1 package of silken tofu. Oops. And there it is. And there it is. All right. Extra firm. You'll find this is what they call, this is shelf stable silken tofu in a aseptic packaging. So you'll find it at room temperature in the grocery store where you find other, even Asian foods. But you can sometimes find silken tofu refrigerated, and that's often in the produce aisle. But either one works just fine. This is 12 ounces, about a cup and a half. They come in different size packages. So you'll have to, I mean, if you go 1.5 cups or a little bit more than that, not really a big deal, right? And then a 1/4 cup of our chipotle puree. This is hot and we got some heat to it, so if you don't like that heat, you could also buy and use different chilies, like a guajillo or an ancho chili is one that I often enjoy. It's just got a milder heat to it. And then we have apple cider vinegar. And then we've got some cumin seed, oregano, and sea salt. Salt, of course, always optional if you're not using it. And that's it. That's our chipotle cream sauce. Quick, easy, and then, of course, we lost our top. With almost all purees, you're going to want to scrape down from the sides. And then, of course, I'm going to that's got a little kick. And that is that. That's our chipotle cream sauce. Double checking how much more. That's food processor. So that's it for our blender. Yay for that. I'll set that aside over here. And then we're going to use our food processor coming up here shortly. But let me unplug my blender and get the food processor ready to go. See, this is if you were volunteering in my kitchen, that would be your task is to keep, you'd be like what they call it, a showrunner or something, where you would keep everything up and going. And then, oh, I need a bowl for my gazpacho. Let's take a break from the blenders and make a real easy, delicious gazpacho. This is pineapple gazpacho, and it's my favorite. I like gazpacho, but I really like this one better than I like probably any other gazpacho. I don't know why. Pineapple for one, but gather some ingredients here. Okay, we got some jalapenos, some crushed pepper. If you don't like it spicy, just leave the hot ingredients out. Some red onion. And of course, I bought a whole pineapple. And cut that up, poured it, and cut it up, and did all the magic. But this is how easy this recipe is. So all of our ingredients are going to go right into the bowl. Chop, it's done. So it's almost, you have to make this soup, right? It's almost insane to not make it. It's just that easy. It's hard to call it a soup. It's almost like a salad. It's a savory soup, sweet, savory thing. I don't know, you call it what you want. It's gazpacho. There, that all goes into a bowl. We're going to use our lime. If you're buying lime juice, what you're going to use, and you want about 2 tablespoons. Handy dandy juicer with the cut side down. Right? Limes are notoriously difficult to juice, and this little juicer here makes light work of it. And you get a lot more to juice. So even if you don't have strong hands, you're good to go. Now, let me cut up my cilantro here. Cilantro is also an optional thing, but you know, I'm a cilantro guy, so forgive me. All right, we're just going to cut up as much or as little as you want. I think the recipe calls for about a 1/4 cup. Throw that in there, and we'll save the rest of that for something else. By the way, if you want to, that cream sauce that I just made would be great for tacos, right? So if you want to take some jackfruit and bake it up or whatever you want, crush your peppers, then you could certainly do that. Even look at that. Look how gorgeous. That salad is. You cannot go wrong with that. And look how easy that was. I mean, even if you buy canned pineapple, you're probably going to need about 4 cups. So a good large size can, if you will. But look how easy that is, right? And we're almost done with just about everything except the presentation. I'm hoping my finished baked goods get done. By the way, the corn cakes look great, and you might be able to get more onto that pan than I did because they're staying, they're not spread. So that's a good sign. They're holding together well enough, and I think we're gonna have a delicious little lunch, right? And our pudding, our brownies, they're doing their thing too. They're gonna take some more time, and that's just the nature of a brownie, right? All right. So to make our chocolate pudding, this is going to go on our parfait. And by the way, I've already got my fruit cut up. I bought some berries. And of course, here in Ohio, those are not local yet because it's Ohio. And it's May in Ohio, even though it's warm. A little bit of, for pudding, we've got silken tofu again. We talked about that a minute ago. And we've got some cacao powder. And then we have some maple syrup. So this is going to go to our, you could probably do this in the blender with a little bit of, it's going to be 85 degrees here today, by the way, you guys. That's why I'm glad we're doing this, or maybe in the 70s. I don't know, I feel like it's going to be 90 at the moment. Anyway, you can probably do this in a blender, but you'll need to tamp it down, if you will. If you're doing a double batch, it works easily in either one. And goes our maple syrup. You could also, I've made this chocolate pudding with date puree. And when I make my date puree, I usually take my dates and steep them in just enough water to cover them. And I don't throw off that covering liquid, but I throw it all into the blender and puree that. and use it. And if you don't want the sweetener, the processed sugar, you probably already know how to do that, but it's a good way to go. A little bit of vanilla. I know Chef AJ uses vanilla powder, which, of course, doesn't have the alcohol in it. And then, of course, the unsweetened cocoa powder, a pinch of salt, if you will. The nice thing, and probably what I would suggest about this menu, is to make your gazpacho ahead of time so that the lime juice has a chance to almost macerate the fruit a little bit, brings out the juiciness and all of that. All those flavors marry up some, right? And that makes it kind of a very nice thing. And then with the pudding, if you want to serve it chilled, you could make that the night before and have that in the refrigerator. But I tell you what would be nice, and what's probably going to happen in my kitchen today, is we are going to, and I forgot to check the timer, we are going to serve it over warm brownies, which means this pudding is probably going to melt. Are you getting a little excited like I am? The pudding's going to melt some. It's going to soften up some and become more of a sauce than a pudding, and that's okay, right? If you serve it that way. If you want to serve those brownies almost warm out of the oven, that's perfectly fine. So you do you, as I always say. So anyway, all of your ingredients, as in everything else, go into the blender or the food processor, and we process. And then again, the same with your blender. You're going to want to scrape down the sides of this so that you don't want any of these little white chunks showing in your final recipe, right? The final product, if you will. Still see a little bit there on the sides. I'm not going to taste it yet because I might go into a chocolate frenzy. And that is that. That's your chocolate pudding. It sits almost in. Now, I tell you what, it will be better once it sits and refrigerates. It gets a little thicker, sets up, if you will, so you don't need any kind of thickening aid with this, because chilling it will do that on its own. Let me taste it. So you know that even if you don't make the brownies, the chocolate pudding by itself is a great dessert. The brownies by themselves is a great treat, but together they all come together really nicely. And you can also, if you want to enhance that Mexican chocolate flavor, if you will, you could add a little bit of cinnamon to this, maybe a teaspoon or less, and then a pinch of cayenne to this. If you'd like to kick it up like that, consider doing that, but that's up to you. So I'm going to move my food processor out of the way. This worked out really nicely, didn't it? I hardly made any mess. If you've been around me long enough to know, you know, that's always possible. So that is that. Let's check. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to turn around here and check on the product in the oven. Oh, lovely. All right, there are corn cakes. Now, up to you. These are done. These are you can touch them and feel they have no give. And look how easily they release from the pan. And if you want to serve them, you might serve them turned upside down like this. It's up to you. You could also turn them over and make them that way. But that is your corn cake. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to taste just one. Where's my little tasting fork? And I'll put a plate together for you so you can see how it looks. They're wonderful. They turned out just perfectly. They don't need, these by themselves. If you don't want to make a Chipotle cream sauce, you could serve this with some salsa or guacamole, right, if you will. That's all up to you. So make them, put them on your list, and you could also make these up, make it back and freeze them, and then have them whenever you want. But I think I'll probably eat these over the course of the next few days pretty readily. But let me show you how I'm going to serve those so that you can see a nice serving suggestion. Let's see it here. Serve these on a nice bed of greens. It's a nice way to get more greens into your day. And then we're just going to place a couple of those on top like that. And then we're just going to put over that a big dollop of our Chipotle cream sauce. And by the way, if you want to, I think I have some left over here. You could certainly garnish that with some cilantro. But look at that. That's a perfectly delicious, that'd be a great brunch too, by the way, whether you're doing brunch or whether you're doing dinner or lunch, perfect one way or the other. Enjoy them however you decide or whenever you decide to serve them. All right, so that's that, and then I've already shown you the gazpacho. I didn't bring a bowl in to serve it in, but I do have something back here. Make it look pretty. So, by the way, let me tell you what's going on with me. As you know, I work for the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies, and we are busy in a project I call CNS Kitchen. And CNS Kitchen, we work to support those who are trying to adopt a whole food plant-based diet and looking for community and support in a non-judgmental space, because we are all on the same journey, but we're on different time frames of that journey. We all have different levels of success, and we're all making an effort. But we have a lot of our members who are the only people in their family who eat a whole food plant-based diet or in their community. And so they're there for the community support. And it is one of the most supportive communities I've ever been a part of, on or off of the internet. It's a wonderful group of people. We're going to meet some of them at our annual, semi-annual retreat, or biannual, retreat. We're doing a retreat starting next week. It's already closed down, or starting soon. It's already registration's closed, but we'll do it again in October, and we'll get to meet some of our members there. Excited about that. And then I have a course called Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking, a beginner's course. If you're new to plant-based cooking and new to cooking, and you struggle with getting healthy meals on the table, this course is for you. And just to show you what I mean, there's a section even there on how to boil water, if you're new to that. So, but beginning cooks and more experienced cooks who are just looking to get tips on cooking in a whole food plant-based kitchen are joining this community and then purchasing this course and really enjoying it. So we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on it. And if you sign up for my email list, then I'll tell you about the next course that I've designed that we're doing a soft launch on, and we'll make it more public coming up soon. I'm also finally trying to work on my latest cookbook. I can tell you a little bit about the title. It's called Table for One. It's a cookbook designed for 1 or 2 people, and it'll have recipes that are in smaller quantities and regular size quantities, so that those of us that live singly and don't want a big batch, a whole bunch of leftovers, can cook smaller batches of some things and not worry about that. So that's what's happening in my world. I'd love to hear what's happening in yours. You can always reach out to me. You can reach me through my website, chefdelsroufe.com, and I'd love to hear from you. See what you're up to. Look at that gorgeous, that gorgeous pineapple gazpacho. It's just it's too much. It really is too much, right? Now, up next, let me see if they're ready. One thing we're waiting on, and you know how brownies are. Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Oh, I may have to call my coach and say, hey, I might need an intervention here. Not quite there yet, but getting there. Doesn't that look beautiful? All right, I'm going to let this cook for a few more minutes. And then we will come back and talk about it. So, reach out to me and let me know what's going on in your world. And then also, if you want to learn more about upcoming events, sign up for my email, my newsletter. I'm not an over me emailer. I might do better at putting out more than I do, but working on it, right? And what else? Cooking courses, cookbook. I'd love to hear what kind of what you're doing in your plant-based world. If you're a teacher, if you're by the way, we're always looking forward to seeing us kitchen. We have a guest chef program. So if you've had some experience teaching and want to introduce yourself to a larger community, we have over 10,000 members in our community now, and they're, like I said, they're a wonderful group of people. So think about it, if you will. All right, so I'm going to cheat. I want to show you what this brownie parfait looks like before I let you go. So what I'm going to do is I know that the corners are going to be done. And instead of, let's see, instead of slicing that, we're going to just take a spoonful, because this corner definitely looks done. Chef AJ, don't scream at me. And take it, oh yeah. We're going to take that and put that into the bottom of our parfait cup. And then we're going to spoon a little of our chocolate pudding on top of that. Yum, 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 yum. so much exciting to talk about. And then we'll spin some of our fruit on top of that. And then, by the way, if you want to do just raspberries or just strawberries or whatever, that's up to you. And if we want to, we can finish this off just a little more on top. And that, my friends, is our Mexican chocolate brownie parfait. And let me show it in this camera so you can see it from the side view. How delightful that looks. And this is going to be a cheat day, if you will. All right, that is it. I hope you enjoy these recipes. Reach out if you have questions. Reach out if you and let me know how you liked everything. And we will see you next time.